Hi, and welcome to the tutorial for the Rhode Island Shellfish Aquaculture Setting Tool, or ShellfAST-RI for short. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to using the tool. I do encourage you to look at the instruction document that can be found at this link up here. And we'll go ahead and get started. So I want to show you this top right corner here. This is of the viewer. This is where we have our layers listed. They're grouped into three categories: natural resources and conservation, managed areas, and human uses. I encourage you to look through all these layers. They're here to help guide you in the placement of your proposed aquaculture site. So I would encourage you to look through those. There's also a base map layer option here. Most of these probably aren't going to be useful for your purposes, but they are here if you need them. And there's a help section located here with some quick links to common questions. So this application is very similar to probably other ones that you used online mapping applications, where you can zoom and pan around, zoom in, zoom out with your scroll bar. If you have any layers checked on, you can easily view all of the layers that you have checked on at once with this layer button here. So I'll show you everything that you have on currently. And if you want descriptions of any of these layers or additional information, if you click these three dots to the right and go to description, you will get the metadata about this data. So this is additional information about this layer, and what's included in this metadata is dependent upon the source of that data. So it's going to look a little different for each data source. So the first step is to review your site location and actually draw your site. So it might be beneficial to draw your potential site in the viewer in order to more effectively assess your site size and shape and location against some of these other layers and uses. So the viewer includes two drawing tools: a Draw Proposed Aquaculture Site tool, which you will eventually want to use. However, this tool is computationally intensive. It takes longer to run. It calculates a number of things like coordinates and areas, medium and high-low water, etc. So I would first suggest you use this other tool. It's called exploratory drawing. And this isn't going to allow you to first draw a potential site and test out the area, the size. It runs a lot quicker, and until you're confident with those site boundaries, and then you can run the next tool, the Draw Proposed Aquaculture Site tool. So I'm going to just zoom into an area here to show you how this tool runs. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the Exploratory Draw Tool button. I'm going to choose this polygon option. You can choose, a color of your choosing. I'm just going to stick with the green. And you can have this option called Show Area Measurement, and you can select the unit you want. We'll do acres. And then you simply just left click on your mouse to add a point, and then every corner you want to add, you left click again, and you double click to finish your drawing, and you will get your area calculation. And this will allow you to then assess your location before you kind of decide on a final site boundary. You can also click on some layers, and I'll show you some of the other functionality. All the layers are pop-up enabled, so I'm going to turn on eelgrass here. And if you click on the pop-up, it says that site areas must be a minimum of 25 feet from eelgrass beds. So there is a measurement tool located here. If you click on that, you can click on the distance option, and I'm going to do feet, and I'm going to verify that my site is 25 feet from eelgrass beds. Yep, I'm okay there. So I'm going to head and clear that. And if you do not like your drawing. Maybe you want to make your area smaller, or you want to move the location. You can simply clear that drawing and draw it again. Maybe I want to make it a little smaller this time. There we go. And after you're confident on your site area and its size and boundaries, and you have determined that this is where you want your proposed site to be, this is when we can come and use the Draw Proposed Aquaculture Site tool. And you're just going to click the polygon option again, and you're going to simply just trace your drawing. Click here. Double click, and then I'm going to hit the Run tool. Or Run button, sorry. Okay, so we get two outputs here, and they have populated in our layer list. We have a bounding coordinates, which if I click that on and off, you can see these corner points, click on and off. And we also have our proposed site polygon. I'm going to clear my drawing so that we can see this a little bit easier. Here's our proposed site and our bounding coordinates. So if I were to click on these bounding coordinates, it provides the latitude and longitude in decimal degrees for each one of our corners. So this information you're going to want to provide in your permit application. In addition, if you click on the proposed site polygon, you will get some other information. You get the area in square meters, in acres, you get the mean high water, the mean low water, and the distance to shore, which is information you will also need to include in your permit application. So make sure you record that. I also want to go back and note quickly that if you are unhappy with your proposed aquaculture site, you can go ahead and click this clear button and redraw that. So you may have noticed I drew my proposed site in a salt pond. And if your site is in a salt pond, there's an additional tool here called the 5% salt pond tool. And this might be beneficial for you to use. So the maximum area occupied in the aquaculture lease in coastal salt ponds is 5% of the total open water surface area of the salt pond below mean low water. So if your site is located in one of these coastal salt ponds, it might be good to run this tool to give you an estimate as to whether your proposed site will exceed this 5% threshold. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this 5% tool, and I have to say what pond I'm in. And you choose your proposed site for this area here, for this input, and then you click Run. Okay, so this calculation here, this output, represents the percentage of the salt pond surface area approved for aquaculture, including this proposed site that you have put in. So this calculation is really here to give you as a user an estimate of its salt pond coverage for planning purposes. So we want this to be under 5%. So this is a good sign that you're under 5%. However, you're still going to need to verify with CRMC directly for the most up-to-date numbers, because certain data sets used in these calculations are not necessarily updated in real time. So you want this to be below 5%, but you still need to verify that with CRMC. So in addition to some of the other things I mentioned you'll need in your permit application, you will need to provide a list of properties within 1,000 feet or within 1,000 feet of your proposed site. So this can be created with the parcels within 1,000 feet tool. So right here, located here is a parcels within 1,000 feet tool. So if you click that, and again, you're going to have to trace your site here. And we're just going to do this. And I'm going to click Find Parcels. So this will provide a list of land parcels that are within that 1,000 feet from my proposed site. And if you click the print button, you will be provided with a printout of those parcels. So you'll need to provide this with your permit application as well. You can print this to a PDF. So next you're going to want to create a map for your permit application. So you want to go ahead and zoom into an appropriate area for your map. You're going to turn off all the layers except for your bounding coordinates, your proposed site. You want eelgrass on, recreational shellfishing, which is in the human uses. And you also want the NOAA chart as your base map. Go ahead and click on the print icon in the upper right corner. And I want you to click on the advanced button and check the box next to preserve map extent. And change the scale bar unit to meters. And change the DPI to 300. And then go ahead and click print. So you should get a PDF here where you can click on it and open up your map. You can go ahead and click the download button here or the print button to print out your map or create a PDF on your computer, which you can then provide with your permit application. If you are unhappy with your map, you can clear your print and print again, zoom in and out, pan around to try it again to see if you get something that works better for you. The last thing I'm going to show you is how to export your files so that you can download your proposed site, so you can share it with CRMC and Rhode Island DEM so that they can also view your proposed site in the viewer themselves. So you can go back to the Draw a Proposed Aquaculture Site tool if you've closed it, and click on that Output tab. And here I want you to click on, you'll be doing this for both the bounded coordinates and the proposed site, but if you click on those three dots, you can export to GeoJSON. So if you do that, you'll get a file that goes, this one goes straight to my downloads. You might be prompted to save it somewhere, but it will be saved. And I want you to do that with your proposed site as well as your bounding coordinates. And this is going to allow you to reopen your proposed site. If you were to close this application and come back tomorrow, for instance, you would be able to bring it back into the viewer. You will also be able to provide these files to the agencies, to CRMC or RIDEM, so that they also have the ability to open up and bring your proposed site into the viewer themselves to review your site location. So if I were to, for instance, refresh this viewer, which will lose my proposed site, it'll start all over again. I will be able to use this Add Data button, and I'll say I want to add a file, and you'll see the different file options you get, and one of them is a GeoJSON. So if I browse to where I have that downloaded file, and go ahead and select my downloaded GeoJSON, and you'll see now that that gets brought back into the viewer. So this will allow you to bring your site back into the viewer yourself, or allow others to be able to bring it to the viewer for review.